Today, the south pole of our planet is an almost lifeless icy desert, but at the time of the dinosaurs, Antarctica was located closer to the equator and was covered with tropical jungle. Like all other continents, it was densely populated by representatives of a wide variety of animal and plant species. But because of the harsh climate and thick ice cover, scientists know almost nothing about the Antarctic lizards of the Mesozoic. In this issue, we will try to get to know the carnivores of the southernmost and most unexplored continent of the planet. If you want to be the first to know about the release of new videos about the era of dinosaurs and the developmental life on Earth, then subscribe to our channel. We also encourage our subscribers to actively express their opinions in the comments under the videos and mark their favorite releases with likes. Paleontologists really began to study Antarctica only a few decades ago, but searching for the remains of ancient creatures and plants under a multi-meter layer of ice and snow is quite difficult. Therefore, at the moment, there are not many types of dinosaurs that have inhabited this continent. But those findings that have been made to date indicate a fairly large variety of animal and plant life in the Mesozoic Antarctica. At the beginning of the dinosaur era, this continent was part of the Gondwana supercontinent. It consisted of the territories of all modern continents of the southern hemisphere. By the end of the Cretaceous period, Antarctica had already separated from Australia, Africa, and South America, but was located a little closer to the equator than it is now. Despite the fact that the average annual temperature was plus 13 degrees Celsius, the last dinosaurs existed in conditions when the polar night set in for several months. It is believed that both plants and animals had certain characteristics that allowed them to live without light for a long time. Due to the colder climate, many of the Antarctic dinosaurs were most likely covered in feathers. Also, among scientists, there's an opinion that they could have been warm-blooded. Given the polar night, dinosaurs may have evolved night vision or other skills to help them survive in such harsh conditions. It is possible that some of them could have hibernated, waiting out unfavorable times. For most of the Mesozoic, Antarctica formed a single whole with another supercontinent, Australia. Therefore, with a high probability, it can be argued that the same or related species of dinosaurs could be found on both continents. For example, one of the most famous Australian predators is the Australovenator. His remains have been found in the polar regions of the continent, and you can get acquainted with this species in more detail in one of our previous issues, which was dedicated to the predatory dinosaurs of Australia. And the most famous predator of Antarctica, the remains of which have been studied and described by scientists, is the Cryolophosaurus. This carnivorous theropod lived in the temperate forests that covered the mainland during the height of the Jurassic period. It was about 194 to 198 million years ago. This well-preserved skeleton of this pangolin was found in a rock at an altitude of 4,000 meters above sea level in 1991. It was discovered by geologist David Elliott from the USA. He reported the find, after which an expedition led by paleontologist William Hammer was organized. For 3 weeks, scientists have extracted more than 2 tons of rock, which contained hundreds of bones of a new species of dinosaur. In 1994, Hammer described his findings and named the dinosaur. It could be translated as frozen crested lizard. A second expedition, organized in 2003, found the remains of another individual on the same mountain, 30 meters from the first find. The most important specimen was the well-preserved skull of the Cryolophosaurus. It also clearly stood out due to the growths on the muzzle. Thanks to this crest, which was located across the muzzle and not parallel to it, this dinosaur received its unusual nickname, Elvisaurus, in honor of the singer Elvis Presley. The animated series Dinosaur Train even has an episode where the Cryolophosaurus performed rock and roll at a music festival. In fact, this dinosaur was a bloodthirsty predator with a length of up to 6 to 8 meters. Its mass, according to various estimates, was 600 to 900 kilograms. The length of the skull of the Cryolophosaurus was 65 centimeters. Overall, it was a classic carnivorous theropod with powerful hind legs and strong jaws. Another unique predator of Antarctica can be called such an unusual dinosaur as the Emperor Vader. Despite the big name, meaning powerful warrior, scientists know very little about his appearance and habits. It is possible to judge the parameters of this dinosaur only by the left foot found. The rest of the bones in the hands of the researchers are extremely poorly preserved. The structure of the legs of this dinosaur are very similar to North American Dromaeosaurus. True, he does not have the main feature of all dromaeosaurids, a powerful claw on one of the fingers. There is also another important difference. The foot of the Emperor Vader is much larger than the feet of his oversea relatives. And given that these species are parabirds, the Antarctic giant can be considered the largest dinosaur of this type. The proportional increase in size compared to the length of the foot suggests that the entire length of the lizard was about 5 meters. It is believed that the entire body of this pangolin was covered with feathers, and he lived at the end of the Cretaceous period, around 71 million years ago. Predatory dinosaurs inhabited not only land, but also felt great in cold waters near the South Pole. In 1989, a skeleton of a very large Plesiosaurus was discovered on one of the islands off the Antarctic coast. But due to the lack of a skull, it turned out to be quite difficult to immediately determine its generic affiliation. Only after studying many finds in the region, experts from the Antarctic Institute in Argentina were able to understand to which genus it belongs. It turned out that the remains belonged to a lizard from the genus Aristonectes, from the order of the Elasmosaurs. These plesiosaurs became extinct in the middle of the Cretaceous period, and so far, scientists have not met such large specimens. The type species of the genus Aristonectes was described as early as 1941. Its length did not exceed 9.5 meters. Like all similar plesiosaurs, it had a long neck and 2 pairs of flippers on the sides of a barrel-shaped body. A notable feature of Aristonectes are thin, long teeth. Because of them, some scientists suggest that this lizard did not eat fish and small marine animals, but filtered water like most whales. There are even alternative reconstructions of the appearance of these animals. Instead of a long neck, they depict a leathery bag, like many cetaceans. But regardless of the method of feeding, scientists have never met such a large representative of this family as its Antarctic species. It is believed that it was an adult and its length reached 12 meters. According to some estimates, the weight of such a monster could be about 14 tons. This size is explained by the cooling of water near the South Pole at the end of the Cretaceous period. As you know, cold waters are more saturated with a wide variety of living creatures, and the elasmosaurs that lived here were able to adapt to such changes faster than their competitors and occupy an important ecological niche. In such a case, the filter-feeding version may be the more likely than the fish-hunting version. Now, the cold waters in these parts are saturated with a large amount of plankton, which feed on modern marine giants, whales. But it was precisely because of the abundance of food that it became the reason for the increase in their size. Maybe the representatives of the found species of sea lizards became one of the inventors of this method of obtaining food. We thank the viewers who watched this video to the end. You can learn more about individual types of dinosaurs, as well as learn about the predators of other continents from other issues posted on the Dinosaur Age channel. Also, our videos tell about the evolution of life in other periods of the planet's existence.